Sunday, October 16th, 1859. Harper's Ferry, Virginia. Hoping to arm the slaves and lead an uprising against slavery, abolitionist John Brown and 21 men captured the federal arsenal in Harper's Ferry. But although they captured the arsenal, the bold effort did not go as planned, and, taking hostages, Brown and his men barricaded themselves in the Harper's Ferry engine house. President James Buchanan ordered Brown's immediate capture. Under command of Robert E. Leigh, Marines from Washington, D.C. rushed to the scene, surrounding the engine house and trapping Brown and his men inside. Negotiations stalled. On the morning of October 18th, Lee's men forced their way inside, and a fight ensued. 10 of Brown's men were killed, including 2 of his sons. A wounded John Brown was dragged out of the engine house and thrown into prison to await trial. Some of Brown's northern allies spoke out in his defense, including, in Concord, Massachusetts, Henry David Thoreau. On October 30th, 1859, Thoreau delivered a speech titled, "A Plea for Captain John Brown," in which he said,
"I am here to plead his cause with you. I plead not for his life, but for his character, his immortal life."
Brown's trial began in October. On November 2nd, 1859, he was convicted of treason, murder, and inciting a slave rebellion. He was sentenced to death by hanging. A week later, to a crowd in Boston, Ralph Waldo Emerson delivered a speech titled "Courage," in which he called John Brown a saint, saying,
"The saint whose fate yet hangs in suspense, but whose martyrdom, if it shall be perfected, will make the gallows as glorious as the cross."
Brown was executed on December 2nd, 1859. As he stood on the gallows, awaiting the platform to drop, a military display of marching began, stretching out the anticipation of the final moment. The spectacle went on for so long that even some soldiers in the crowd, empathizing with Brown's agony, started chanting,
"Shame! Shame!"
Following Brown's death, his close friend James Redpath, a fellow abolitionist and publisher of the Crusader of Freedom newspaper, hastily compiled a biography of Brown's life. Redpath has long been suspected of having foreknowledge of the attack on Harper's Ferry, or possibly being somehow involved himself. The light of that matter may be swallowed in time, but what did come to life, just 40 days after Brown's execution, was Redpath's book, The Public Life of Captain John Brown, with an autobiography of his childhood and youth. Published by Boston publisher Thayer and Eldridge, the book's dedication page read, "To Wendell Phillips, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and Henry D. Thoreau, defenders of the faithful, who, when the mob shouted 'madman,' said, 'Saint,' I humbly and gratefully dedicate this work, James Redpath." 164 years later, one of these volumes found its way into Barrow Bookstore in Concord, Massachusetts, the hometown of Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, and where Thoreau had said, all those years ago,
"He is an angel of light. I see now that it was necessary that the bravest and humanest man in all the country should be hung. Perhaps he saw it himself."
Farewell. God bless you. Your friend, John Brown.